Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, amazingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Wednesday, June 14th, 2023. This is live stream 932. If you're not overly familiar with this show, let me point out, super casual around here. Just hanging out, having a good time, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and either taking a first look at a game or I provide a review of a game. More often than not, we're taking a first look, which is what we'll be doing tonight. That's right, because I am going to unbox and dive on into Days of Ire, Budapest, 1956, from Mighty Boards. And we will be jumping on into this in just a bit. Do want to mention, if you are tuning in live so that you can catch the first look, we do tackle the tabletop gaming news first around here, which means it's going to be probably about 40 minutes or so before we get on into taking a look at Days of Ire. So if you're watching live, kick back, relax, enjoy yourself, put your feet up. It's hump day. You're halfway to the weekend. Now, if you happen to be tuning in 30 minutes or more after this stream has ended, well, there are timestamps. So if you're the impatient type, you can jump ahead. Those timestamps are located in the show notes, or depending on what device you might be watching this on, it could be right there in the timeline in front of you. So fairly easy peasy if you are watching this after the stream has ended. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Also, because this is a live stream, that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you are a subscriber to the channel and you have been for 48 hours or more, you can take part in chat. So if you want to say howdy, maybe you've got a question, a comment, maybe you want to take a closer look at something in Days of Ire, chime in, let me know. I will do my best to respond. First out the gate tonight is the Motor City Madman. Yes, one of our chat moderators, the Madman, is here, as is Kathy Evans. And one of our other chat moderators from across the pond is Flaming Huron. So, chat is off and running. Got some news that broke. Well, not news like important gaming news, but I had news for me break just before I started the show. I will talk about that a little bit after I finish up with the news. It's not good news either. I'll shake it off. I'll shake it off. Do you want to mention all this week? The Gaming Gang Dispatch is sponsored by Deus Ex Machina and their crowdfunding project, over on Backer Kit for Ultra Modern 5 Redux. And here's a quick ad from our sponsor.
Steampunk, space opera, espionage, supernatural, cyberpunk. Pick your setting, or play them all. In 2016, Ultramodern 5 exploded onto the gaming scene. On Drive-Thru RPG, it earned a copper badge in a day, silver in 2, finally reaching platinum after only 3 months. At the time, one of only 2 third-party 5e books to do so. Ultramodern 5 doesn't present one world. Instead, it provides the tools to make your own settings within the 5th edition framework. In the original book, classes, equipment, and scenarios were generalized. In this revised edition, every facet is being expanded, including rules regarding mecha, cybernetics, and the paranormal, effectively doubling the size of the original publication. More weapons, more armor, more opponents. This new edition of Ultramodern 5 will replace all previous artwork with new color illustrations provided by Hugo-nominated artist Nick Greenwood. The main books will also be supported by downloaded digital modules, including new standalone adventures and expanded rules tied to a new setting, Affinity, which blends many of the elements of Ultramodern 5 together. With Ultramodern 5, you can harness the tools to create any world you want, mix them all, or focus on one. The only limit is your imagination.
Hi, I'm Chris from DSX Machina. That was our original crowdfunding trailer. Upon its release, Ultramodern 5 Redo sold faster than its original, achieving its own mithril badge on Drive-Thru RPG. Ultramodern 5 remains the preeminent third-party non-fantasy sourcebook for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, offering universal rules for any homebrew setting. In this crowdfunding campaign, Ultramodern 5 Redo is being offered as a regular print edition with a standard or alternative cover, but backers can alternately acquire the deluxe edition with spot UV, a slipcase, and a satin bookmark. However, exclusive to this campaign, you can now pledge for the limited print leather edition, with metal corners, sprayed edges, and more exclusive features still to be announced. Also new to this campaign are 4 adventures and 2 campaign settings, each offering unique ideas, monsters, and encounters. Back now to expand your game into all new frontiers. The only limit is still your imagination.
The Backer Kit project to bring a new print run of Ultramodern 5 is about 2/3 of the way to being funded. It just launched yesterday. And of course, if you have not checked out my preview video where I discuss my thoughts on Ultramodern 5, by all means, give it a peek. And I should also point out, Ultramodern 5 is available as an SRD. There's no artwork. I have not personally looked at it, but I'm taking a guess it's just a wall of text. But it is available as an SRD, absolutely free if you want to check that out. So if you are a game master who is very comfortable with the 5e D&D mechanics, and you're not really looking to learn a new system, but you want to explore some other genres of role-playing games, definitely take a look at Ultramodern 5. So during that sponsored ad, Roger Perdome, Scott B. Smith, Agent Especial, and Nero's Fiddle, as well as John Miscola, almost missed John, decided they wanted to hang with the gang tonight. So welcome to you all. Let's jump right on into the news because Brotherwise Games is going to be celebrating 10 years of Boss Monster with a new anniversary edition. Here's the skinny. Boss Monster is the best-selling standalone card game that challenges players to become the ultimate villain by creating the deadliest dungeon. With over 1 million copies sold, this game is sure to be a hit at any table. Celebrate the 10th anniversary of Boss Monster with his special, you guessed it, 10th anniversary edition. Lure heroes to your dungeon with all new room cards and 4 new bosses. Thwart your opponent's plans or buff your boss up with new spell cards. A modernized rulebook and quick start guide in this edition helps new and seasoned players alike. Do you have what it takes to be the baddest boss in town? Or will these puny heroes take your treasures? Find out in this all new special edition. The Boss Monster 10th Anniversary Edition is for 2 to 4 players, ages 13 and up, plays in around 30 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $24.95 when it arrives on July 19th. As you can see, this has some pretty cool retro video game graphic design to it. So the kind of 16-bit. And way back in the day, we reviewed Boss Monster over on the Gaming Gang. It's fun. It's a fun game. And I would think with all the various different expansions that have come out, and with this new edition, I would think that this will be very easy to pick up and run with. Because when it first came out, I would say it wasn't too difficult to figure out how to play, but it wasn't the clearest rules presentation. But I would think that that has been kind of polished up a bit. Plus, if you are a fan of old video games, retro video games, or you were playing those games back in the day, there are tons of really funny Easter eggs that are in there as well. Keldon is with us in chat. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping on by. Moving right along, this August is going to see the release of Freelancers, a Crossroads game. And here's the latest from Plaid Hat Games. Dungeons and exactly 1 dragon. Congratulations. Humanity is dead. The bad news is that they all left behind their garbage in a broken gig economy. That's why we need freelancers like you, ready to take any job, no matter how loathsome. As a freelancer, you will delve into ruins, brave the wilds, and slay the hordes of hideous creatures that litter the dark, forgotten corners of the world. All so you can gather loot and return home, ready to blow it all and start over again the next day. It's a lousy gig, so it's perfect for the likes of you. Freelancers condenses the fantasy role-playing game campaign experience into a single night of fun and mayhem. Create a character, roll funky dice, and blaze your way through multiple stories set in a world of magic, monsters, and murder. Better yet, no game master is required, as a magical companion app does all the storytelling for you. Immerse yourself in fully voiced, industry-leading audio as you play. Explore hundreds of branching paths in 5 highly replayable campaigns. Mix and match a multitude of species and jobs to build your own unique character. Pick up and play with simple rules, low commitment, and no prep. Freelancers is from the award-winning studio behind Forgotten Waters and Dead of Winter. Freelancers is for 3 to 7 players, ages 14 and up, plays around 90 minutes or so, and it's going to carry an MSRP of $59.95 when it arrives on August 3rd. I am intrigued. This is another company that I've just never actually had an opportunity to play any of their games. Like Dead of Winter, I've had people ask me about Dead of Winter, and I've told them I have always heard it's really good. I have not played it. So In fact, I think we've only interviewed Plaid Hat Games once, and Elliot did it at a Gen Con probably 8, 9 years ago. Kind of wild. I will mention though, this sort of has a Mutant Year Zero vibe to it because it looks like all of your characters are muties. So it's like, eh, eh. Roger says, when I hear no prep, I don't know why. It always scares me. Madman says they love Dead of Winter. It's a favorite of his game groups. One thing I will mention, and if you are a viewer of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, you already know this. I am never too keen on games that require an app to play. And I know there are companies out there and they're like, "Oh, what are you concerned about? We're going to make sure that our app is going to be, forward compatible and everything." Can't do that. They can't prove that. They can't guarantee that. And it's not that I'm concerned with a company, going under and then the app's not available anymore. As long as you got the app, you're fine. My issue is the operating system updates because it's not unheard of that you'll have an iOS or an Android update and you'll have apps that no longer work. And if they're not being supported, they will not work. So I'm always a little bit concerned about that. Now, if it was something I could download to a computer or a laptop, that'd be a little bit different. If it was a program that I knew, oh, okay, well, now I've got it. I don't know. But once again, freelancers seems pretty interesting, and that is why I'm sharing the news. There's a new offer from Bundle of Holding, and it features the Epic Encounters 5e D&D line from Steamforged Games, and I've got the deets on the deal. Adventurer! Take your tabletop fantasy role-playing game sessions to the next level with this all-new Steamforged Epic Encounters bundle of warband and boss battles from Steamforged Games. Create unforgettable adventures for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition and compatible rule systems with this offer's 18 digital epic encounters made for both new and experienced players. Each encounter includes a full-color PDF adventure booklet, usually running between 20 and 35 pages, and 2 full-color PDF battle maps. Many sets also include print and cut monster tokens. The encounters adjust easily to your campaign's power levels, so you can drop them into your ongoing campaign at a moment's notice. For just $7.95, you get all 8 complete epic encounters in the starter collection, which has a retail value of $40, as DRM-free PDFs, including Caverns of the Frost Giant, Chambers of the Serpent Folk, Hall of the Orc King, Lair of the Red Dragon, Shrine of the Kobold Queen, Swamp of the Hydra, Temple of the Snake God, and Village of the Goblin Chief. And if you pay more than the current threshold price, at least as of this afternoon, of $20.92, you'll level up and also get the entire bonus collection with 10 more encounters worth an additional $50, which includes Arena of the Undead Horde, Barrow of the Corpse Crawler, Cove of the Dragon Turtle, which if you follow the gaming gang, I shared a first look with that big old dragon turtle mini. Yes. Hive of the Ghoulkin, Island of the Crab Archon. We also took a look at that too. Labyrinth of the Goblin Czar, Nest of the Dinosaur, Step of the Lizard Thane, Tower of the Lich Empress, and Web of the Spider Tyrant. Steamforged Games is also providing each purchaser of this Epic Encounters bundle a unique discount code, which will be good through July 10th, for 40% off a single purchase of any or all of the physical Epic Encounters sets at the Steamforged Games online store. These savings will run through July 3rd, and 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated to Direct Relief. Yes. Agent Especial says, I would love to have Jeff count my publications with that intensity. Oh, it's just to keep myself entertained while I do this. So I can't imagine myself just sitting there. Steamforged Games has also provided each purchaser of this Epic Encounters bundle a unique discount code good through July 10th, 2023 for 40% off a single purchase of any or all of the physical Epic Encounters sets at the Steamforged Games online store. Oh, that's boring. Boring. I gotta say, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool, but there's always a but, isn't there? No, there's not always a but there is a but here. I think the big selling point for Epic Encounters are actually the miniatures, not the encounters. So, not getting the miniatures, although you would be getting a 40% off discount on any and all. Although I would think all of these aren't available still from Steamforged Games. I don't know, to be honest. But, like I said, I think the big selling point for this happens to be the minis. But I don't know. And, to be like completely transparent here, I kind of get the impression that Steamforged Games is in some financial straits. Just from what I'm hearing. Kind of, I wouldn't say it's necessarily, something that's not well known. It's just, I guess, if you kind of like piece the puzzle together, but they seem to be like behind on Kickstarter fulfillment, and they're running more Kickstarters. And I kind of get the feeling that it's one of those sort of, we got to run a Kickstarter so we can pay for the production of this current Kickstarter that we haven't fulfilled. I don't know. I'm not accusing anybody of anything at all, but it just feels like maybe there's some dark clouds hanging over Steamforged. I don't know. So if you like Steamforged and you like Epic Encounters, you can help them out. So Flipping Heron says, a big but, if I'm being honest. Oh, my ass isn't that large. It's, kind of flat, though, to be honest. It's just, So there is a unique looking role-playing game. It's currently up for crowdfunding. I've got the dope on The Last Caravan, a Cars and Aliens tabletop role-playing game. In this cozy, melancholy post-apocalypse, the aliens came less than a year ago. The war lasted 2 months, but nobody won. Now, with an alien army rising from the ashes of war, you will have to make a dangerous journey across a shattered North America in search of a new home. You are normal people finding heroism in extraordinary circumstances. You will explore transformed landscapes, search abandoned towns, discover otherworldly technology, negotiated with newly formed factions, outrun alien pursuers, and all you've got is a car, your fellow travelers, and the road. There is a short 2+ minute Kickstarter video from the creator of The Last Caravan. So let's give it a peek.
Hi, I'm Ted Bushman, writer and designer of The Last Caravan. The Last Caravan is a Cars and Aliens role-playing game about a midwinter road trip in the wake of an alien invasion. The war ended in a cold stalemate, and now you play as normal people traveling across the transformed North America as the rumblings of a new war begin. You and your group of travelers, a bickering family, wandering veterans, or curious scientists, enter a new region transformed by the invasion. The game cycles between two phases. During the detour phase, you'll meet survivors, fight hostiles, and uncover alien secrets. During the travel phase, you'll regroup, work on projects together, argue about your next steps, and gather supplies. The game uses a D6 system similar to Forged in the Dark games to help create the complex scenarios where things can go wrong at any minute. It also uses a roleplay trigger system descended from games like Wanderhome that help players bring the narrative to life. In the chaos of the last few years, we all experienced our own kind of apocalypse. The Last Caravan is my response to our collective experience. It's a game about reconciliation and hope in the face of circumstances that make those things seem impossible. In the transformed world of the last 3 years, I came to treasure the table where we played The Last Caravan and the car our characters traveled in. RPGs have this incredible ability to help us work through difficult circumstances together and reach a safe destination. And designing The Last Caravan was my attempt to harness that power. So if you're the kind of person who believes that a weird, complicated, hurt family can find a way forward, or that something as insane as an alien invasion can end in something like peace, then I hope you'll consider giving The Last Caravan a try. At our main backer level, you'll get access to a PDF and a physical copy of the full game, as well as stretch goals, like a full album of original music, which I am so excited about, a detailed map, and more. Check it out, back us, and spread the word. See you on the road.
The Last Caravan, a Cars and Aliens tabletop role-playing game is so close to the 200% funding mark. In fact, it's probably just a handful of pledges away from 200%. This is over on Kickstarter, and you can reserve a copy of the game in PDF for a $20 pledge, or score the hardcover, the PDF, and unlocked stretch goals, including that album of music. Do people actually call them albums anymore? I know I make that mistake, and people give me a look like, what? It's like, oh, yeah, my favorite album is, and they're like, album? Huh? My favorite collection of MP3s is. Anywho, you can get a copy of the hard. Oh, no, actually, I think it's a soft cover. I'm not sure if it's a hardcover or soft cover. You'll find out. But you get the physical book, the PDF, the music, and unlock stretch goals for a $40 pledge through June 27th. And you will not have to wait around very long because expected delivery of both digital and physical items is this October. I got to say, this looks very, very interesting. This is another item that I just kind of stumbled across, and I thought, hey, you know what? This looks kind of cool, kind of interesting. It in some ways it reminds me. There was a video game. I think it came out about 2 years ago, and it was a lot of people were all like pumped up. It was in early access for a while. I didn't play it in early access. But the premise of the game is that you're traveling cross country in a car, and you can only ever have like 3 people total. And if I remember right, I think it was 3. And you can only like have 2 things, one in each hand. And if they're like these weird aliens, they're almost like it's almost like Day of the Triffids, but everybody's not blind. And everybody was like, "Oh, it's finally coming out. It's finally launching." And it was sort of like, eh. But I thought the premise was really cool. You're making this cross-country trek in just a car with regular people. So pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. So Kevin King is with us in chat. Anybody else swing in here? Besides Kevin R. Smith, Kevin's with us. In fact, Kevin pointed out about the other info when we were talking about Steamforged Games that they better not be using the funds from one Kickstarter to pay for another Kickstarter, because that is not allowed. Yeah, well, there's a lot of things that's not allowed on Kickstarter that people seem to get away with. But like I said, I wasn't accusing anybody of anything. It's just a vibe that I've got. That's all. All it is. I've got nothing against Steamforged Games. Remember, they were kind enough to send me those 2 Epic Encounter boxes. So Kevin says they believe vinyl is now the best selling physical medium for music again, mostly because hipsters buy vinyl and the people who would buy CDs get their music on Spotify or Apple Music. Yeah, I gotta be honest, I don't buy into the it sounds better on vinyl nonsense. Sorry, I don't. And I think that a lot of times that comes from people who didn't grow up with albums and 45s and things like that. So didn't know. Christopher says, oh, Christopher Rush is with us in chat. I know that video game. I always enjoyed it. Felt like it would make a great tabletop RPG. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. Oh, there we go. Overland. Thank you. I was just about to say something like Overland Journey or something. So Christopher says they just looked it up on their Xbox. Kevin says digital does not scratch, nor does it skip. Final news piece of the night. Let's wrap up with another money-saving bundle. Now this time, it's over at Drive-Thru RPG, and it is the aptly titled Everything Bundle from Bloat Games. And I'll tell you about some of the games that are part of this bundle, such as Dark Places and Demogorgons. In this game, you play as high school students during the early 1980s. Wow, that sounds just so familiar. Where have I don't know. There's like a show. I think it's on Apple Plus. The town you live in has had a rash of disappearances and strange happenings. The adults seem lost as what to do. The police are as clueless as ever and aren't helping. And Reverend Phillips, damn you, Reverend Phillips, is on another witch hunt. It's up to you and your friends to figure out what's going on and stop it from happening again. Then there's Scorched, which is a game based on the simple concept, what if Luke never left Tatooine? It's definitely heavily Star Wars inspired, with a side of Mad Max thrown in for good measure, and it has power armors. Scorched is a full standalone tabletop role-playing game, clocking in at 223 pages, but it's also fully compatible with the Blackest Space, which is another science fiction role-playing game, which is part of this bundle. Scorched is a game that utilizes the BOD game system. The Blackest of Deaths is the name of the RPG that comes from. Then we also have Survive This, Vigilante City. Actually, these are all Survive This. Vigilante City is heavily inspired by Batman, the animated series, along with the X-Men, Spider-Man, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoons of the 1990s. Vigilante City utilizes the familiar rule set of the world's most popular fantasy role-playing game. In fact, I believe almost all of these do. I think they're all kind of OSR. Mixes the old school with modern mechanics for the best possible gaming experience. With its modular system design, you can easily play to the exact style of superhero game you want. Survive This, Vigilante City's core rules feature all the rules to make a vigilante and play the game. So those are only 3 of the over 75 PDFs which are available in this bundle. This is practically, I'll believe, almost everything that Bloat Games has ever published. You can get it all for $100. Now, if you were to buy these in PDF separately, then you'd be looking at an MSRP of approximately $340. Another game company I have never checked out in depth, anything that they've released. And there you go, Christopher Rush comments what I was just about to say is that Dark Places and Demigorgons, I have heard very good things about. In fact, I have heard, because I reviewed Kids on Bikes, which was, I want to say that was the first role-playing game that Renegade Game Studios published, maybe the second, but I'm pretty sure it's the first. And I liked it quite a bit. And I heard Dark Places and Demogorgons blows it away. Keldon asks, what is the world's most popular fantasy role-playing game? They forgot. Obviously, it is Tunnels and Trolls. If you live in Japan. All right, that is it for the news tonight. Of course, I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to go visit, say, Drive-Thru RPG, or maybe you're going to go check out Dungeon Masters Guild or Wargame Vault. I mean, it's a Wargame Wednesday, Storyteller Vault, what have you. Please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on any of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. All those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. And it doesn't cost anything more to use our affiliate link as opposed to just going to Drive-Thru RPG. Price is still the same. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. But if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always swing on over to paypal.me/thegaminggang and making a small donation. And thankfully, there are a lot of people out there who utilize the banner ads and or visit paypal.me/thegaminggang. So thank you, everybody. Much appreciated. I really, really do appreciate it a lot. All right. So tonight we are going to be diving on into Days of Ire, Budapest 1956 in just a few moments. Do want to point out, found out from my nephew Cameron that he is not going to Gen Con. After I had discussed with him for months that he had to be sure he was going to go. Oh, I'm going. Uncle Jeff, I'm going. I'm going, Uncle Jeff. Oh, I've already requested that time off from work. Oh, well, he happens to be part of the Illinois Air Force Reserve here, or Air. Is it Air National? He's like 22 years old. He would never serve like full time in the Air Force. But I want to say, I think it's the Air Force Reserve, or Air Guard, or whatever. So he's saying that, well, they're not having a drill weekend in July, which I thought they never do, or at least since he's been in it for the past 2 years or whatever, never had July because it falls on like 4th of July the weekend or stuff like that. So they don't. So he said, oh yeah, we gotta we're making up for it the exact days of Gen Con. Now I don't know, because I took a look at some other air wings and their schedules all say August 19th and 20th. You know what I mean, jelly beans? So, don't know. So, of course, I had booked a hotel room. I paid for it in advance because I actually found a pretty nice hotel. It's probably motel, whatever. Yeah, what? I don't know. Do you consider like Holiday Inns hotels? Anyway, it's not a Holiday Inn though, but I'm just saying it's like a Holiday Inn would be. So, anyway, I got the best price if I paid in advance, and of course he was supposed to split with me. But so I've already paid in advance. It's about 12 minutes away. So it's on the highway because if you've ever like gone to Indianapolis for Gen Con, the convention center's kind of not far off from the expressways, highways, whatever they call them there. So I'm stuck going to Gen Con alone again because Elliot can't make it. Uh, for one, he doesn't have the funds for it because of Comic Con. And it's like, so now that means I'm going to have to lug everything around. I'm going to have to I'm going to have to keep my fingers crossed that I can actually park in the parking lot I normally park in, but I could have swore that there's construction going on over on Georgia Street. Once again, if you've been to Gen Con, the convention center, there's kind of like I don't know, it's a street that they've kind of blocked off to make into kind of a like they put tables and they have food trucks and stuff. Pretty sure I read that they said that the food trucks are moving to another side of the convention center because of construction. So that would lead me to believe that the parking lot that I would park at, which is right across from the convention center, will not be accessible. It's kind of the impression I've got. So probably going to be making my life far, far more difficult than it should be. So John says, there's construction going on all the time, Jeff. Oh, yeah. Come on. I live in the Chicago area. I know all about that. So kind of a pisser, I got to say. I mean, I've covered it by myself before. In fact, I covered it right after I had the triple bypass. Well, not right after, but it was like 2 months after the triple bypass. I went and actually covered Gen Con solo, but I was staying at the Crown Plaza right across the street. So it made life super, super convenient. Don't know. So I got an extra bed. Anybody going to Gen Con? Not only that, I now have an extra press pass. And I could offer it to my brother, but I'm sure he'd only go like for a day or two. I got to be honest, I'm so tired of every single year it's the same shit. Where it's like my nephew's like, "Oh, I'll be there. I'm going. I'm going to go. I'm going to go." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." I put the pass in his name and then it's like, "I can't go. I don't have enough I don't have money." It's like, "Okay, so how did you just buy all that stuff for your computer?" So, Flaming Heron asks if I stepped on a mirror or black cat or something. No, not that I'm aware of. I got to be honest. I had an impression this was coming. So I'm not, it's possible he really does have the drill. So I get that. I completely understand that. But I also understand that you can do things if something's going on to get out of drill. Uh, you can't tell me that there's no way for you to be able to arrange a different weekend or something like that. Kevin says, I might be interested in the extra space. Right now, they're at the La Quinta by the airport because they couldn't get their badge until late. I'm not by the airport. I'm trying to think. I'll have to take a peek. I'll have to take a quick peek, see what's going on. Quantum Phase Dragon is with us in chat. Who have I missed? Stray Kismet's here. I said hello to everybody. I believe I have. All right. Very nice. Very nice. Other thing, real quick. I'm not going to take much time up talking about it. There's a possibility I might go to Ireland. Maybe. Don't know. Don't know. Not permanently. Kind of up in the air because it's sort of like, well, it would be with my brother and my dad. And it's kind of like, probably 10 days would be my guess. And I'm like, what about the cats? I can't trust certain people to take care of the cats because I tried that when I went to Comic-Con last year. That was only 5 days I was gone. And it was like, came back and it's like, why did you turn off the automatic litter box? Why did you unplug it? It's like, and then you didn't plug it back in 2 days ago? Anyway, Kevin, shoot me an email. We'll discuss. Anyway, I was gonna say if anybody out there is watching, and Kevin, I think Kevin just said they've got a badge because they're running some games for a small indie company. And well, Kevin, you should let me know who they are too, so I can maybe if they're exhibiting there. Because tell you what, I am not going to do is, and I get this all the time, and it happens at Comic-Con, happens at Gen Con, that I get these people who are like, oh, hey, we want to set up an interview and stuff like that. And they're not exhibiting there. They don't have any booth space there. And it's like, oh yeah, well, we can meet over in this hallway. And it's like, I'm not shooting video in the hallway. Because for one, that'll get you thrown out of Comic-Con. And I don't think that's really something that is acceptable too much at Gen Con either. So I will not be doing that. But yes, I had a company last year that was like, oh yeah, I want to set you up with some copies of our new games, and we're going to be running games in the big like open gaming hall. And they told me where they were, and I couldn't find them to save my life. And I was like seriously, don't have a booth? Flavor writes this to the back of Gen Con. Yes. All righty. So we're going to be diving on into Days of Ire from Mighty Boards in just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next attraction. There are candy bars galore in a lobby candy store, just in case you want a taste of something sweet.
Our popcorn is nutritious. You will find it delicious.
Most anything that you would care to eat. Cooling drinks that are so grand, simply name your favorite brand. Awesome ice cream, so good and helpful too. If you feel you need nutrition, now's the time, it's intermission. Step right up, we have the very best for you.
Top quality hamburgers, the most popular snack in the country. We serve them plain or garnished to your taste.
Golden, pure creamery butter, rich, flavorful, satisfying. That's what it takes for the finest buttered popcorn, and that's what we use. See for yourself why there's no Showtime treat to equal the crisp, delicious flavor of hot popcorn that's bathed in real melted butter. It's at the concession stand now.
You know, people who don't drink Wilkins coffee just blow up sometimes.
Oh, that's a lot of...
See what I mean?
Wait a minute, Dad. I haven't finished Dick Tracy.
You can't read.
Okay, read to me.
Oh, okay. Now, let's see. Tracy's trapped by the crooks. Gee, he's in a real tough spot.
Boy, I'll draw my Dick Tracy snub-nosed 38, and I'll... See that shooting shell, Dad? Fires green stick-em caps, too.
Well, let's get back.
Then I'll pull back the bolt, and I'll blast my way out with Mattel's Dick Tracy Tommy Burst. You can fire a whole burst of caps, or shoot one at a time.
I thought you wanted to read Dick Tracy.
Not now. I think he's on television.
You can get Mattel's fabulous new Dick Tracy Snub-Nose 38 pistol and special belt holster, or the exciting Tommy Burst machine gun for $3 each. They're the only official Dick Tracy guns. And remember, you can tell it's Mattel. It's swell.
Yes, I do believe that was Billy Mummy. People all used to call him Billy Mummy, but I think it's actually Mummy. Danger, Will Robinson, danger, danger. Don't point that gun at your father. Yeah, that's nice. Hey, Dad, I'm just going to shoot this at your newspaper. I was going to say, I was wondering who was going to do the you'll shoot your eye out kid. So it was Kevin. Kevin said that kid's going to shoot his dad's eye out. Christopher Rush says, I want that kid in my next Call of Cthulhu game. Yes. All right, tonight I am going to be unboxing and taking a first look at Days of Ire, Budapest, 1956, from Mighty Boards. It is designed by Catalin Nimmerfrau, David Cherksey, and Mihaly Vicini. Oh, I know. I just destroyed those names. Butchered those names. Artwork and graphic design is provided by Sammy Lasko, Aklanchi Moria, and Catalin Nimmerfrau. The game actually tackles, as far as I understand, I think it's the October Revolution, with the Soviets and the revolutionaries facing off. It is for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, plays around 60 to 90 minutes, does carry an MSRP of $45, and I do believe that this is a new print run that has come out. So let's swing on over to the other camera, because here I've got Days of Ire, and you may notice we're seeing Mr. B Games and Cloud Island. Cloud Island was actually acquired, or they merged, I guess we'll say, with Mighty Boards. So maybe this is a copy that had been left over. I don't know. But a few things I do want to mention before we dive on in. First of all, the fine folks over at Mighty Boards were kind enough to provide me with this review copy of Days of Ire. But neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. And these days, it's very important that you know that. So we are going to be diving on in. And I should also mention that hopefully the image is very clear once again tonight, that it looks nice and sharp. I watched part of the stream last night on Firefox as far as the browser I was using. And I go in and I check so I can put the timestamps in. So I get the time when things, start and things like that. So I can do the timestamps. And I noticed like every 30, maybe 40 seconds, there was almost like a little hiccup in the stream. And it went on like for the whole video. And I was like, what? So if you missed last night's show, I just put a new video card into the computer that I streamed through. And I thought, oh, no way. And then, strangely enough, when I went and checked the video this morning, because I can't do the end screen, when I'm like, oh, and check out this video and check out that video. I can't do that until after the video processes. And it's usually like 10 hours. Don't know why. So anyway, I went back and I checked it, and that little hiccup was gone. So I don't know if it was just a stream thing, if it was like a processing thing on YouTube. I don't know. So if you are watching live and you've noticed there's like a hiccup going on every few seconds, I'm kind of curious. Or maybe it was just a processing thing. So Flaming Heron says it's the YouTube gremlins. Of course. One player plays as the Soviet force trying to hold the movement back, while a group of 1 to 3 players play against him. Hey, don't assume that it's going to be a guy. As the revolutionaries, driving the movement forward through the 7 days between the 23rd and the 29th of October 1956. October 23rd is the day before my birthday. But I was not born in 1956. I was born 11 years later. Otherwise, play cooperatively as a group of 1 to 4 revolutionaries against an AI Soviet force, with solo and cooperative modes included inside this box. This game was created to honor the exceptional unity of the Hungarian society during the fights, the memory of the Hungarian citizens, workers, students, intellectuals who took part in the fights, who got injured or killed, or who had to leave the country after the fall of the revolution, and the aid coming from abroad for many Polish citizens, or with the help of the International Red Cross from different countries. Sweet. Let's jump on in. I am really looking forward to taking a peek at this. I also have Knights of Fire and the special expansion that has miniatures in that. We are going to take a look at Knights of Fire on next Wednesday's show, as well as that expansion too. So let's see what we've got. So it looks like we've got some punch boards with some counters. I should mention, where are they floating around? Of course I moved them. I also got a little packet that had 2 additional counters like these in green and blue. So I think one is for this game, and I think the blue might be for the Knights of Fire. Okay, so we have the conflict rule set, the Zhukov rule set. So this is the 1 versus many. This is the solo or cooperative. And then it looks like we've got a starting rule book and appendix. Read this book first. Okay, so we'll take a look at this book first. Wow, these cards are all kind of scattered around. That's okay. It's all right. It's all right. Okay, so we'll take a closer look at those in just a moment, but let's take a look at our rule book. So it says this game contains 2 rule sets. The Zhukov rule set is a cooperative or solo game for 1 to 4 players who play as the boys and girls of Budapest, revolutionary ringleaders organizing protests side by side against the Soviet oppressors. Players galvanize the people and utilize the resources of the Hungarian capital to bring their cause to success while containing the chaos that might leave their home city in rubble. The conflict rule set is a 1 versus many game for 2 to 4 players, where in addition to the revolutionary team, 1 player takes on the role of the Soviet commander stationed in Budapest. I remember, oh gosh, I was about 20 and I was dating a girl whose parents were from Lithuania. Oh, did they hate the Soviets? Oh boy, did they hate the Soviets. I was like, whoa. All right, so we've got the overview and goal of the game. The revolutionaries have to resolve the notable events of the revolution on the city map, fight with the tanks of the Soviet army and units of the State Protection Authority of Hungary. The revolutionaries win the game if all of them survive and no more than 4 events remain unresolved by the end of the week. They can also win if they are able to drive out the opposing forces from the city, but they lose if their morale falls too much. If the revolutionaries achieve victory, the Soviet forces agree on a ceasefire on the 30th of October and leave the country, as they did in history, for almost a week. Or the city is left in, but if one ringleader falls, the fighters' morale plummets, or the city is left in the rubble by the time the fighting is finished. History takes a darker turn. The regime extinguishes this candle of freedom before it gleams bright enough for the world to see. Coco B is hanging with us. Good to see you. So we've got our setup. So we've got our game board, which is a map of the city. And it looks like we've got photographs of important locations. We've got our calendar. We have revolutionary cards. We've got our revolutionary deck. Barricade tokens. So we've got setting up the revolutionary side, setting up the Soviets, playing with the Zhukov rule set, and starting the game. And there are some promo cards. It says you might have 9 additional promo cards not listed in the components section. Not sure if I got promo cards or not. Talking about player powers. Here we've got a brief history of the revolution. Very nice. Oh, cool. It's almost like a GMT playbook because it's like each of our cards, we get an explanation of what they represent historically. I know we've talked about this a little bit on prior Wargame Wednesdays, how I love the fact that we have companies out there who are creating simulations for things that we don't have hundreds of games about or what hasn't been gamed to death. And the October Revolution is certainly a topic that I'm really not aware of any other games outside of Days of Ire and Knights of Fire. All right, so that is just our starting rule book and appendix. So here is our one versus many. Will you lead them or crush them? So we've got a Soviet phase, which has 5 steps: headline step, event step, army step, support step, and market step. So we kind of have a headline phase as we do in Twilight Struggle. It says in a headline step, the Soviet commander may play any number of headline cards from hand in any order and keep the rest in hand. There are 2 types of headline cards, red and green. Red cards help the Soviet side, while green ones are beneficial to the revolutionaries. All cards have a title, a text, effect, icons, and command points on them. Soviet commander can spend command points in the next steps of the phase. It's having a little Twilight Struggle vibe to it. So we've got our command points. So a red card option, choose one of the following: collect command points or resolve the headline. And then if it's a green card, now once again, this is for the Soviet player, you can collect command points and resolve the headline. So kind of like Twilight Struggle, if you're playing an opponent's card, then you're getting the command points here, but that event is going to take place. Or you can discard the card, ignoring the command points and all effects. That's a little different than Twilight Struggle. So it's showing us our icons. So we got some different icons there. So then we've got our event step. In the event step, the Soviet commander may spend the command points collected in the headline step to buy event cards from the event market. Interesting. The base command point cost of an event card is indicated in its upper left corner. If the base cost of the event is X, that card is called a minor event. Its base cost is equal to the number of minor event cards currently present on locations on the board. Huh. Most event cards have a corresponding location on the board where they belong. Looks like we also have anywhere events. I don't know about those of you watching, but this is looking very interesting. Very, very interesting. And once again, I hope that you are getting a nice, clear image. So I checked last night's, looked pretty good. Looked pretty good. So then we have revolutionary cards and fighters. So where's our revolutionary phase? There we go. So we get actions. So it looks as if the Soviet player has these various different steps they're going to take, like they've got the army step. So they can move and place additional Soviet tanks by spending command points. They have support step. They got the market step, which is the commander must refill the event market. They must choose exactly 2 event cards on the market to keep and move them. Oh, so it looks like, oh, there's some turnover. Looks like we've got turnover with these event cards in the market. So here with the player count, it looks like we're going to rotate the players for the revolutionaries, because here it shows like if you've got 3 revolutionaries, the first player gets 2 actions, second player gets 1, third player gets 1. But here, if you're just playing one-on-one Soviets versus the revolutionaries, then the revolutionary player gets 4. It says the player must take or pass all their available actions before the next player's turn. So we got movement, activating a fighter. So the actions that are available are activating a fighter to aid the revolutionary players, resolve an event to gain its reward, attack militia and draw 1 card at critical success, destroy a tank and increase morale, use a card or fighter ability, give or take cards to from another revolutionary, and draw a card. Actions can be taken in any order. Same action can be performed more than once. So we've got a breakdown of how we do that. Spa cards. You get to go to the spa. Now that would be the State Protection Authority. So after we go through, it looks like we go through the revolutionary phase, and then we've got a State Protection Authority phase. So it looks like the Soviet player gets to do something again. That's kind of wild. Okay. So, and then we've got kind of a player aid here on the back. So this is the versus. That's what I'll call it, the versus rules. Now this is the cooperative and solo rules here. We'll just kind of quickly flip on through there. There's Zhukov, played by Bob Hoskins in Enemy at the Gates. Wasn't that it? So we've got our event step, revolutionary phase. So it looks like the revolutionary phase is pretty much the same. So do we have, I know we're supposed to have an AI. Oh, there you go. So we've got like an AI deck, a Zukov deck. And it looks like everything else probably plays out, if not exactly the same, but probably fairly similar to that. Nice. So Kevin says, yes, the new card seems to have improved things. That was Kevin King. Kevin R. Smith says, yep, I was about to say that even the text is readable both on TV and the laptop. Madman says, video's looking great watching on an iPad without going full screen, and I can still read the text. Yeah, part of it is the card. Part of it, I think, is the encoder that I'm using. Because before I swapped the cards, I did switch over to a bit more process-heavy encoder. But we were also seeing some of those drop frames, too. Right, so these are the punch boards. So here we have, I'll try to get a little closer in there. So I see that we've got the fighters. Looks like these are tanks, barricades, probably hits to your fighters, because I think these here, these two right there are revolutionaries and dual-sided. I'm taking a guess that the fighters will actually be face down, and you activate them and you choose one and find out, so we've got I'm not even gonna try to pronounce some of these. It looks like we've got maybe some reporters. To guess it's maybe a journalist. And then we've got more of them. Oh, there's also tanks. Well, a tank. You can get your hands on a tank. That's got it. It's like, what is it? An old T-34? Kevin King says this would make an interesting setting for Top Secret or Spycraft. Yes, the original Top Secret. Not that hot trash that came out. I've heard that, what is it, New World Order? Is that what it's, Top Secret New World Order? I've heard is just ungodly bad. And that it's got some like seriously racist elements to it too. I do not know. I have not looked at it, but that is kind of what I seem to recall hearing. Right. So we've got a couple of punch boards. I'm going to take a guess. Okay, so the Zukov deck is in shrink. I almost had the feeling that maybe somebody at Mighty Boards was playing. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, so we've got some of these punched out. These cards are all scattered. Joking. Okay, so we've got, looks like we've got different decks. So we'll take a look at this in a minute. I'm just going to try to sort these out. So we've got Armed Uprising, Revolutionary cards. Looks like we've got some little plastic dots. Flaming Heron said the loose cards are just triggering their OCD. Well, I'm trying to get this put together here. There are quite a few cards that are scattered around, though. And there's our dice. And I'm hoping that we're going to find those counters that are punched out. Otherwise, that's going to be an issue. That's what I'm trying to find. Are I'll be damned. I don't think they're in here. They're not. Wow. It has been a long, long time since I got a game that had something missing. Wow. And we're watching this live. So, all right. You saw me taking a look underneath. I'll take another look. It is not there. Now, as I mentioned, I did receive a couple of these, and one's green, one's blue, and it was separate, and I moved it. It was sitting off to the side here, and I moved it recently. All right, so let's try to. So we got Armed Uprising, Revolutionary card, Day of the Revolution, and the Turning Tide. Art looks pretty cool on these cards. You'll get a better look at them in just a second. But wow, that those missing counters. Jeez, I don't know. Okay, so those are revolutionary. I will reach out to the contact I've got over at Mighty Boards to let them know. I wouldn't be shocked if somebody from Mighty Boards ends up checking out this video. Flaming Heron says, yeah, points deducted even in the first look. To be very honest with you, like as a review, that would be a huge issue. As far as a review. Because not actually having all of the components of the game is kind of a no-no. Now, those of you out there, you might remember there was a company called Toy Vault. I don't know if they're still around, but they made some games, and they sent me a review copy of this game that had all these like little miniature like mechs and stuff like that, except there were no minis in it. It was like, here's the rules, here's some counters, here's the game board, that's it. And it was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. And I reached out to let them know, hey, you sent this without any of the things. And of course, that was before, I want to say that was before we were actually shooting video. Let's see. All right. Almost got these sorted out. Okay. So just to take a peek here. Wow. And I mean, there's like baggies and stuff in here too, and they're not in the baggies. And even though there was no shrink on this, I had not opened this box. So there's shrink on the Days of Fire and the like expansion. So just for the heck of it. So we're going to take a look here. So we've got like a headline where it's showing curfew. So these are the command points. Then we have the SPA points there. Offer of amnesty. Fighters with heavy weaponry. So it looks like these are all headline cards here. So these actually have photographs. And they're trying to make it look like it's a headline in a newspaper. So that's kind of cool. Everything was going so well until we found out it's missing some tokens. It's like, whoa. So we've got the turning tide. So it looks like these are more headlines. Truce betrayed. News from Suez. Authorities open fire on the crowd. We've got Day of the Revolution. So these are more headlines. Authorities open fire on the crowd. Okay, so that card's repeated again. Protests in Poland. How does that say? Emir Nagy appointed. So that's that. And then we have the bigger deck, which is the revolutionary cards. This is what I saw, and I said, oh, wow, that artwork's pretty cool. So it appears that we have these various different symbols or icons, I guess we would say, on these cards. So we've got aid, ambush, newspaper, food supplies, information leak, transportation, Molotov cocktail. Looks like we've got multiples, pistol. The PPSK 41. First aid kits. So it looks like we've got some gear there. Build barricade. And it looks like all the rest of these are just multiples. Nice. Very cool. All righty. So we've got the 3 smaller decks. So I'm taking a guess. We probably have an order that we utilize these, like maybe Day of the Revolution, Armed Uprising, and then the Turning Tide, maybe. So let's quickly take a look at the Zukov deck. I wouldn't be shocked if there might be a few more cards for these other decks in here too. There's that. State protection. Starting events. Okay, here's events. Yeah, so we've actually got a few different decks here. Because these events, those are, I thought that's what the revolutionaries have to resolve. They have to resolve a certain number of events in order to win. What was it? They couldn't have more than 4 unresolved events. Okay, more Zukov. I always find it interesting when you see games where they have multiple decks and they kind of correlate the cards like this. I find it kind of interesting. It's like pretty wild how, is that how they're produced? Right? Okay, so real quick, let's look at the Zukov. So this is going to be your Soviet AI. So if you're playing solitaire or if you're playing cooperatively against the Soviet AI, of course, if you're playing the Versus edition, if you're a revolutionary player, you are playing cooperatively if anybody else is a revolutionary player. You're not at odds. All right, so that's that. We've got some starting events. So it looks like our starting events can be different. So civilian armed in Corvin Passage. Something Circle organizes protest at BEM statue. And students demands at University of Technology. So got that. We've got the SPA cards, which they have snipers and militia. So moving snipers, moving militia, attacking. Okay. And finally, we've got the events. Stalin statue removed from Stalin Square. I'm not going to look at all of these, but spreading the news to the countryside anywhere. It's an anywhere event. Fighter group organized on Zena Square. Weapon confiscated anywhere. Fake anti-tank mines in Corvin Passage. Hey, you know what else we're missing from this? We don't have a game board. Wow. I just thought of it. We do not have a game board. Alrighty. So, man, this does not bode well now, does it? Okay, because yeah, so I'm sitting there, I was going to say, oh yeah, so these events go in different locations. And I'm like, wait a second. There's no game board. It's like, what? Alrighty, so we're going to just wrap this up. Like here, it's like, seriously, what is going on now? I know, this is nutty. Wow. I would take a guess that somebody was probably putting this together by hand. Because like I said, this wasn't in shrink. So Fleming Heron says, need a re-first look. I don't think we're going to do that. I'll do a review, obviously, but if I can get these other items, I'm going to have to take a look inside. I'll put this stuff back in. And I did not pull anything out that I'm like, oh, you know, like when I took the rule book out and stuff. But even just the way when we opened it up, we had the rule books weren't even the first thing. Because normally you're going to see the rule books, then your punch boards, then your game board. We had the rule books upside down like that, and these on top. So just doesn't look like this was assembled correctly. Whoever did the assembling. So I don't know. Put these in here. But I gotta say, this looks really interesting. So as long as we can make sure that we get the right parts. Scott Smith says, I blame time-traveling Soviet saboteurs. What else could it be? Fleming Heron says, in Mother Russia, they don't need boards or missing tokens. Okay, well, that was sort of a peek at Days of Ire. But as an example, real quickly, I will show you. So here's Knights of Fire. And the funny thing is, I'm like, wow, this game is like so much heftier. This weighs so much more than this one. And I was kind of looking at the back and I'm like, they look kind of similar. And this is in shrink. This was not. And then, of course, we've got the Days and Night Red Army pack, which is kind of that bonus. So, sorry to say, this does not have the revolutionaries in it, because then it wouldn't be so bad. I'd be like, oh well, we got the counters, the minis, and then there's like another deck of cards for scenarios. So this is actually for both Days of Ire and Nights of Fire. All righty, so let me swing on back to the other camera. All right, come on. There we go. What the heck? Like I said, I will reach out and point out that, they can check out the video. The folks over at Mighty Boards and see that missing some tokens and there's no game board. And that's what we know about. So Scott Smith says, "You've had a weird night, sir." Nah, not really. Haven't seen this happen in a long time. And I gotta be honest, I've never done that on a live stream. I can't remember a live show where we've done an unboxing that had stuff missing. So, oh well, yeah, it happens. We'll see if we can get it rectified. All right, anyway. So tonight I am going to announce the winner of the Forbidden Lands contest. Yes. So I ran a contest to win Forbidden Lands in PDF, as well as the two new releases for Forbidden Lands that are arriving tomorrow. And it is the Book of Beasts, as well as the Blood March. And the winner is where was this? I jotted it down. There we go. Commandante 73. So all you need to do is shoot me an email to Jeff McAleer at thegaminggang.com from the email address that is affiliated with your YouTube account that you made that comment on the video. And I will get you those PDFs. I cannot send the PDFs out until tomorrow, in case you happen to watch this tonight and see that you've won, because they don't go on sale until tomorrow. Anyway, Flaming says, "I told you, Jeff, you've done something to the universe and it's pushing back." Not pushing back on me. There's no skin off my nose that there's things missing from a game. It doesn't make me look bad. Yes. Anyway, all righty. Like I said, I'm sure it's not that big a deal. It would be a bigger deal if I had been a purchaser of it, right? So, on tomorrow's show, I will be sharing my review of the Lord of the Rings role-playing 4-5e from my friends over at Free League Publishing. So, hopefully you will join me tomorrow night for that. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my Kickstarter preview of this week's sponsor, Deus Ex Machina's Ultra Modern 5 Redux Kickstarter. So by all means, check that video out. And of course, I keep saying Kickstarter. It's on BackerKit. I see so few things on BackerKit. That's why I keep thinking Kickstarter. Anyway, so check those out. Anyway, if you were watching live, thank you very much. If you were watching live and taking part in chat, a bigger thank you. Because not only are you keeping me company, you're keeping each other company. But of course, I know a lot of you out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. It doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. I really do appreciate each and every one of you taking time out of your busy life to watch any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. All righty then. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. I hope to see you tomorrow. And here's hoping all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, that's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.